This was an action-packed episode that was full of a bunch of other things that happened that I'm going to talk about in their entirety. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, I would suggest that you do so first because I'm going to spoil all the things here. I'm talking the whole episode. And there are major spoiler points in this episode. So moving forward, you've been warned. Final countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We've got Silver Team here, and missing is Kai because no one knows where she's at. Although I suspect she's probably, um, if I had to guess, she got taken up and out with the contingency that left when they decided to abandon Reach. This is an episode of loss. There's a lot of stuff that goes down. He is no longer in the picture. He did not make it. So one of the Silver Team is now toast, and Kai is nowhere to be found. The Covenant is going to glass the planet, and we got the creepy blonde-haired Covenant girl showing up as Dr. Halsey arrived at Corona's prison, only to see the Covenant and the creepy blonde lady, whose name I forget, taking Corona. Corona? It's been one of those kinds of day. Cortana. And I probably need a Corona at this point. And they're gone. Like they've taken now the most advanced AI in the universe, and who knows what they're going to do with it. So the stakes just got a little bit higher. Obviously, this episode is sort of all about tying into the existing lore that came from the game. So if you've played that game before Halo Reach, parts of this will be familiar. The Winter Contingency, the whole planet falling, so on and so forth. There's nothing that can be done here. It's part of the storyline. Not only did we lose him, we also lost the Admiral, who ended up having to sacrifice himself so that they could get off the planet with all the civilians, or so that the civilians could get off planet, I should say. And we're left with essentially these two on the planet with Halsey and Serac, the pirate captain guy who used to be a soldier. He failed out of the Spartan program because the augments didn't take. So we're left in a place of them still being on the planet. Now he said he suspects that Kai is out there in the thick of it, probably somewhere on the planet defending civilians. I don't know if that's actually the case, because the way she had been, she when she was meeting with the new chief the other day, not the chief, master chief, but the new head of their program, she had literally got to the point where she was feeling so uncomfortable with the situation. She literally just put her hands behind her back, was like, "Tell me what to do, sir." And if I had to guess, he might have guarded her, had her become his personal guard or guide a new squadron of soldiers to protect them. I don't know. What I do know is that they are stuck on the planet with no armor. The armor's got taken off planet. I don't know if there's any other transports at this point, but yeah, they're kind of screwed. That's kind of it as far as the story goes. This was, I feel like, a very condensed episode in terms of what was going on. But in between all of the story elements that I was just talking about right now was lots and lots of action. And I want to give a shout out to the special effects crew, the stunt crew, all the coordinators that helped make these fight scenes look so damn cool because they were really well done. There's one scene in particular where Chiefs, they're escorting another way out, and it felt like exactly like a scene from the video game where you're just getting overwhelmed and you've got to get out. Like, and so it's laying down, covering fire, tossing grenades down the hallways, and falling back, falling back, falling back, falling back until you can either get out or find a defensive position. And it just captured the gameplay so well. Also seeing one of the tanks on the enemy side and the Needler. The Needler was really, really cool. RIP, because yeah, he met his end at the Needler. It was also a really cool moment where Master Chief was fighting the Elite, and one of the other Covenant shot him while he was down, and the Elite like turns around and like cuts the head off of his compatriot because he's like, "This is my target," because they do have some sort of honor for the demon. I don't know. I feel like this is a good episode overall. I know some people are going to take offense to this because, oh my God, you're seeing Spartans without their armor. But I think that it brings a human element to this episode. especially considering we're going on a slightly different timeline here with the fact that they had those emotion chips that they took out, and so they are definitely feeling more human, more human than they would have otherwise felt. And I think it brings a certain element. I was actually watching an interview with him the other day, and he was talking about how understanding where some of the fans are coming from because we've played those we've played Master Chief's character so many years in the games where we all sort of feel like we can put our own personal belief system into that character because we've filled in the gaps on our own over the years of playing that character. So we have in our heads, we've built up this mythology of what the character would or wouldn't do or how that character acts or so on and so forth because based on our own interpretation of the lore, and that's fine with that. But when it comes to something like this, his job is to portray the character in the way that the showrunners want him to portray the character. And so that's what they're doing here. They're giving more humanity. She's dealing with difficult issues related to her pain, just physical pain, and hoping that they can actually do something else. And he was starting to love animals. And, she was starting to hope that she could do something else. And then that hope might have just got, stripped away from her because the guy she was working with, the blind armor smith doctor guy, boyfriend got killed in the evacuation, and he decided to sacrifice himself, taking out the tank that allowed them to get away. So there was a lot of stuff going on in between the major story beats here of just showcasing the human side of these individuals. And there is some interaction between him and the corporal Latina actress who is helping, the refugees get away from this, where he's explaining, when some elements of when he was a kid and the coin thing, and always feeling like he might not be able to save everyone, but he knows that he's never going to die in battle like that because he has that coin luck factor. So overall, like I said, it's not the best episode of the season so far. It's not the best episode out of all of the episodes that have aired, but it is a good episode overall. I feel of moving them towards the plot. My biggest question at this point is where's Kai? Is she on planet still, or did she take up with the new creepy boss and not know? Because the realization here by everyone in this episode is that John was right. He didn't lie. He wasn't off his rocker. He wasn't crazy. He actually, especially the Admiral realizing that, oh yeah, that the other team, Cobalt team, was wiped out. They didn't even have a chance to get a shot off. Their magazines were full. Like, you were right. You called it. They lied. So the realization that they've been lied to, and everyone coming to understand that, oh wow, yeah, you actually were telling the truth, and we're so sorry for doubting you. Hopefully, more people come around to that. But yeah, big question: where's Kai, and what does the Covenant want with Cortana? I don't know. Big questions to be asked over the next few episodes because this is the halfway point. I think it's only 8 episodes for the season, so if I'm wrong on that, somebody call me out in the comments below. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. I'll be back next week, of course, reviewing every episode of the show. And stick around because Chris and I are going to be watching things like the Three Body Problem and the new Shogun series and beyond. I've got a new movie review coming up for Sunshine, which I hadn't watched in a few years. It was way creepier than I remembered it being. So check out all the other playlists, all the games, daily streams here and on Twitch, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Stay safe. Happy gaming and watching in this case.